Today, I've got a very special guest with me. His name's Sam High. He's one of the personal trainers at Oni, and he runs his own business called High Fitness. Hi, High Fitness.
Kia ora. How's it going?
Yeah, good. Before we get started, before we hear all about Sam and his personal story, what's our word of the week, Danny? But first week we did hauora for health or wellness.
So it was like hauora,
We did koritinana for workout.
toi oranga. Well, because it's okay. Mataora means
Mataora.
alive or life.
Alive or life?
That's a good one.
Okay,
I like that one.
mataora, and I'll write it on the board.
Mataora.
Mataora.
But yeah, so today we're going to be talking about Sam's mataora because he's got a very interesting story. I actually haven't heard the specifics of it, the details of his, of some of the cool things that he's lived through. But I want to hear all about it, and I'm really. But before I get into that, actually, I want to say I'm very proud of this guy already. He's been a part of the team pretty much since the beginning of Oni. When I was choosing my team, I was very particular on who I wanted on board. I wanted people that wanted to help people and succeed and drive their own lives or mataoras with or without coming on board with Oni. They needed to be people that could be independent and have some drives of their own. And I saw that in Sam. I saw potential, and I was like, yeah, hell yeah, I want this guy on board. And we've worked together for most of this year now, and I'm really happy. I'm really proud. He's achieved a lot. So without further ado, this is Sam, and I want to hear all about your story, my man.
All right. Well, where do you want me to start, basically?
So I've only heard snippets. I know you've had a kidney transplant.
Yes.
I don't know exactly when.
Okay.
I don't know how or
All right.
why or anything, really.
Okay. So it started off when I was 16. So one day I thought I had basically a UTI or a urinary tract infection. Went to the toilet and something unexpected came out. Still not really sure what that was.
What was it?
It was like a little red lump of something. I think.
A red lump.
Yeah, I think like if you have too much like protein in your urine, it can like bind together and come out in like chunks. So yeah, sort of like panicked when I saw that.
Were you having a lot of protein? Or?
No, it was, yeah, it's just when your kidneys cease to function properly, they start to excrete protein.
Oh, God.
Like they said mine were like off the Richter scale of like what they've seen of people peeing out protein before.
Whoa.
Basically. So,
How big was the lump?
would have been like about the size of like a fingernail maybe.
A fingernail?
Yeah. But like fleshy like type tissue.
Oh, and that came out of you.
Yeah, so you can understand like
Oh, man.
I was pretty shook. It's like I don't think that's normal. I should probably tell somebody.
Yeah, okay.
So proceeded to tell my mother. And I think
I met your mother earlier, actually.
yeah,
A couple months ago when she came down to visit.
yeah,
Lovely lady.
lovely lady.
You can tell she's really proud of you too.
Oh yeah. And yeah, I think the doctors were just about to close, but yeah, they made like a panic appointment for me.
Wow. When you told them about the fingernail size fleshy lump.
Yep. So naturally, yeah, they shifted out some people and shoved me in. And eventually we found out that I had a kidney disease that is particular to my family tree. And has skipped a generation or two. So it was in my grandfather, who is deceased. I never met him. And it's in my mother's side of the family tree, but the symptoms have never really shown up in my mother.
Oh, right.
And
Did your family know about this? Or was this something you discovered on?
I think we sort of knew about it. So there is a large number of people in our family with kidney type diseases or kidney type issues. So I guess we just thought that it hadn't affected our side, or we weren't affected. But yeah,
Right.
Obviously the DNA has been passed down our strand as well. Yes.
Okay. So what was the disease like?
I can't remember the name of it, but essentially what happened is my immune system, for whatever reason, started to attack my kidneys. They thought it was a foreign entity, or for some reason the body's been tricked into thinking that my kidneys are not necessary. So
is this some sort of like autoimmune disease?
essentially, yeah, it's a form of autoimmune disease. But yeah, it's very, very rare and localized to our family tree. They've taken our blood away and like bits of biopsy from my kidney and sent it away to these American universities to study and stuff like that. So that's interesting at the very least.
And they couldn't find the same disease like really anywhere else?
No, not really. It's very localized to our family tree, this particular form of kidney failure anyway.
Right.
So yeah, it wasn't from any of the common occurrences like diabetes or stuff like that.
So your body was pretty much just destroying your own kidney.
So originally they told me that I might have to get a kidney transplant when I was 40, 50 years old.
Right.
And as a moody teenage boy, even that was like, life's hard enough when you're 16 years old. It was like, the whole world's against me type stuff. I'm gonna
have to phase, Dad.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get a kidney transplant when I'm 40. It's like I'm so different.
So then, that wasn't the case, obviously.
Yes, so it was deteriorating. My blood pressure was through the roof and had me on blood pressure.
What were some of the signs and symptoms that you were going through?
Signs and symptoms. So just chronically fatigued, which they were sort of putting down to me also being like a teenager, but
down to being a moody teenager.
Yeah, essentially, there's a lot of signs and symptoms similar to being a moody teenager. So yeah, very fatigued, lack of appetite. So I used to be quite physically active and loved my sports, but I just wasn't able to participate anymore. I think I had to, what was it, you take like 8 classes at high school or something like that in your final year, cut down to like 4 classes. 4? So yeah, just so I could like stay in school.
Could you like stay focused?
Oh,
is that like part of the fatigue?
Yeah, that was hard as well. Other signs and symptoms, my blood pressure was just like through the roof. Hurt to pee sometimes, I think.
Yeah.
That was the main
stuff. What do the
kidneys
do?
Kidneys, for the most part, they're a filtering system as such. So they're necessary for us to ingest all the things that we ingest, and they filter out the crap, essentially.
Yeah. So that's what my understanding of kidneys are. Remove waste and extra water from the blood to form urine.
Yes. So when they don't work properly, you can also find that people retain a lot of water. So one of the checks when I go see my specialists, they'll check the size of my ankles, basically. So if my ankles are bloating,
there's like a lot of edema and swelling there.
It's a sign of swelling or fluid retention.
Do they like pit? Like pitting? Is that one of the tests?
Yep. So pitting, they'll check the glands as well for inflammation in those. So there's a few signs.
So what happened from there?
Deteriorating, and I got to 18. So I was studying computer science at this stage So
it's been like 2 years of like fatigue and...
Yeah, so things were pretty rough, and decided to stay in my local town of Timaru to study instead of going abroad for the most part, just because I didn't have the energy. I didn't think I could study abroad or out of my local city for the time being. But that was really cool. So the computer science stuff suited well to that. It's quite sedentary. It's quite... a lot of sitting down and stuff like that, I just have to move my fingers. But then had a test before the end of the year for my kidney function, and basically things had just plummeted like really fast. So They're like, you need to
Do they know why, or is it just deteriorated
just
that quick?
deteriorated that quickly for whatever reason. No obvious signs as to why. And yeah, they're like, okay, you're going to need a kidney transplant in like a month, or
Wow,
you're
ASAP.
going on dialysis basically.
Wow.
So yeah, there's no getting a kidney transplant actually takes quite a long time.
Yeah.
So you could say to someone, "Oh, I'm going to give you a kidney tomorrow," but there's a lot of checklists and stuff like that
Yeah.
you'd have to go through to make sure that you are mentally fit to give this kidney, to make sure that this person hasn't bribed you or coerced you
Yeah.
in any way.
So it's not like there's some library of kidneys you can just go and get, is there?
No. So there's a kidney shortage, in fact. So
Yeah.
there's a long waiting list. So if you go on the waiting list and you don't have someone that is in your family or directly accessible to you that can donate you a kidney, some people spend years waiting for a kidney, which is it's really sad, unfortunately.
And you were able to get yours in a month.
No.
That much cheaper?
So I did have to go on to dialysis for a little bit. I forget the name of it. Is it peritoneal dialysis? The one where you have to... there's a bag and it drains the fluid into your stomach and acts as an artificial kidney. So the fluid is drained not into your stomach, but in the surrounding membrane of your sort of organs and stuff like that. And basically that soaks up all the crap. You hold on to it for a little bit, and then you have to drain out that bag and then drain in a new one, I think every like 4 hours or so.
Wow.
So yeah, I was
How long were you on this for?
so I think I went on it in it must have been December, and I received my kidney transplant in February. So only 3 months, which is
It's still a long time just to be kind of...
some people the dialysis works really well for, like they feel like $1 million. Some people prefer being on dialysis to having their kidney transplant even. But for me that wasn't the case. The dialysis was it didn't gel well with my body. Deteriorated even more basically. So
Can you tell us where your mental state was when you were in these 3 months?
I can't really remember much of it, to be honest. It's like I was that vegetative. It was I was just a shell of a human basically. Like there's pictures of me and I just look like this white pasty ghost person, real skinny, like malnourished, like skinny fat type looking.
What do you remember about those like sort of 3 months?
I don't really like. It was pretty emotionless, to be fair. Like I just sort of did what I had to do, which was dialysis every 4 hours. So I was pretty much like stuck in my house all day, every day. I went to try exercise a couple times, like went for a big walk, and I tried a bike ride and just proceeded to spew my guts out basically. Wow. What I can remember is not being able to hold any food down. So yeah, Mum would make these delicious meals and my old favourites that she knew I liked, but I just couldn't handle any food basically.
What are the favourites?
Chicken nibbles.
Chicken nibbles?
Chicken nibbles and rice was like a big one.
Wow. Any sauce?
Yeah, soy sauce. So like, what was it, sweet soy sauce, bit of honey, garlic.
Oh,
so good.
nice.
Yeah, that was the staple. But yeah, lost, I think, when I started before kidney failure, I was about 70 kgs and ended up weighing about 53 at my lowest.
Whoa.
Yeah, it wasn't good. Had to be super hygienic with dialysis. You have to wash your hands like 1 billion times a day, and you have this like hand sanitizer because essentially there's a tube sticking into my stomach. Like there's just like flesh around this tube. Yeah, it's exposed. So any filth or anything like is going to cause an infection like ASAP. So
you're switching out this every 4 hours on your own, eh?
Yeah, so they teach you how to become independent, how to do this thing by yourself. So yeah, it's kind of bizarre. Like I'd have friends over and they'd, you know, sort of watch it and just be like in awe and disgust basically, because it's,
Well, you just got a tube sticking into your stomach.
yeah, well, that's it, and draining these bags into me. It's not natural, but I got used to it. It's amazing what the body will get used to and what you get used to survive. But yeah, definitely went on to autopilot for 3 months basically.
Yeah. It's amazing how people can do that for longer periods of time too, man.
Oh man, yeah, like that. You know, I feel like I got off pretty lucky.
Yeah, it's amazing hearing about that and seeing where you are now.
Yeah.
So obviously, to me, you're like this super driven guy.
Yeah, it's just, well, that's part of it. It's, you know, it's all relative, right? So that, I think, because at first I was really scared about getting a kidney transplant. I was upset about the fact that I was going to have to take anti-rejection medication every day.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like, I don't even,
Part of your day.
I couldn't care less. Like,
So where did this kidney come from? Was it February?
Yep. So my mum was talking to, I can't remember who she was talking to. It might have been my auntie. No, it was my grandma. So mum's mum on the phone. Proceeded to hang up once they were finished talking about. No, they're talking about me and stuff like that. They were panicking because mum and dad both weren't compatible. We didn't check my sister, but yeah, immediate people weren't available to give me a kidney transplant. Right. And then out of the blue, my uncle, who was living over in the UK at the time, called up mum and basically said, look, I'll do it. We're like, what? What do you mean? It's like, yeah, I'll do it. So he...
Who's this uncle? Have you met him before? Like,
oh, yeah. Yep. So mum's brother. I think the youngest of the aunties and uncles. He
was compatible?
Yeah, he did all the blood tests and it was a lot of work from over there, but he did all that and it was compatible, and he moved back to New Zealand to donate me one of his kidneys basically, which was
wow.
Like, I just, I can't fathom that type of generosity basically. That's surreal to me.
How long did that process take him?
It took the 3 months basically.
The 3 months.
So
oh right, okay.
We were just waiting for that to come through. So he'd said basically when I needed to go on dialysis that he will give me a kidney.
Wow.
But the process itself took that long, and that was hurried up as well.
Yeah.
So,
man, that guy's a hero, man.
Oh man, yeah, definitely.
He moved his life here too. Is he still living here?
Yeah, he's living here. He lives just out of Christchurch now, and is it Rolleston? Yeah, it must be Rolleston.
Wow.
Yeah, so absolute champion.
So the transplant went okay?
Yeah, it did. It was probably the most terrifying experience of my life.
Yeah.
So had to wait. So we went to the hospital. So he would go get his surgery first to have the kidney removed, and then they'll come and get me to transplant it in. They gave me a whole bunch of anti-rejection medication first to sort of prep my body, and
so that's for your immune system.
Yeah, so
to reject this.
Yeah, so as a transplanted kidney, if you have a transplanted kidney or any transplant for that matter, it's a foreign entity essentially.
Yeah.
So even though we are relatives and share similar DNA, because our DNA is different, the kidney is perceived as a foreign entity inside my body, so my body would try to reject it. So you do have to take anti-rejection medication to prevent that kidney.
Were you on that medication before you were on dialysis?
No.
When your body was kind of rejecting your own kidney?
No.
Would that have helped?
I don't know. I've thought about that, but I haven't asked, so I'm not too sure.
There must be something about it. Anyway,
yeah.
So,
wow. Yeah. So had a whole bunch of anti-rejection medication, but proceeded to throw all that up because I was just an anxious wreck, basically.
Was your whole family with you? Or your immediate family?
I think they were there. I think mum... it's loose. I can only loosely remember things because I was in such a state. Mum was there the whole time, like trying to calm me down. I I've never been so anxious. Like I thought I was gonna die, type of thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I sort of, because I was so like energyless and just grey, basically.
Yeah.
I'd sort of just come to peace that, you know, the surgery, it can go like one of two ways, basically. It's, you know, this is going to make me better, or
It's kind of out of your hands at that point.
yeah, like, you know, I might not wake up from this, and I'm completely fine with that, basically. Because, yeah, like I wasn't alive, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was remembering this just before. I was writing down a bit of my story to hopefully post a little later on in the year. But like, Mum had been by my side the whole time, basically, since my kidneys had rejected. So she'd helped me come up to Christchurch to teach me the dialysis stuff. She looked after me, and she'd put up with all the stress. She'd fight the doctors to make sure that they were doing the right shit. She'd, like, you know, bully them into doing the right stuff, because she knows her stuff.
What does your mum do?
She's a pharmacist, so she's the home doctor for sure.
She's been around that sort of...
Yeah, she knows how to tell doctors what to do for sure. But yeah, so, and then time came for me to have the transplant. They wheeled me out, and Mum stayed by my side like as far as she could, and then obviously there's the point where she can't go with me anymore, and like I could literally like see in her eyes. It was the first time I'd seen like this emotion in her eyes, like genuine like fear, I suppose. Like, you know, she's been battling this whole time, but you know, she can't battle this battle, basically. You know, she's got to set me out and hope that I come back, basically. So yeah, I remember that was like a strong emotional moment where I was like, okay, I'm gonna fight for this, but at the same time, it's like, you know, I'm feeling all these feelings as well. Like, it made me super sad.
You don't often see your parents, like anyone, like their parents feel like, see them feel this way. You know?
I've never like, through all that, like, you know, Mum kept face, and that was the first time I saw her.
Brave face for you too, man.
Yeah, well, that's it. You know, parents do keep that brave face. So yeah, that was pretty sobering to see, you know, even just like a glimpse of that sort of side of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so went into surgery. Remember the gas mask going on, counting down to like, what was it, like 8? You never make it past. Never make it past any like further than that. And woke up, anesthetic was making me dozy, fell asleep, and then woke back up again, and I was back in the room that I was in originally. And I literally, like, I could feel the warmth in my face again. I could feel this energy. But my body was just beaten up. Like, I was like, yes, I've got this energy back. I feel alive again. But it's like, my body's just like, nope. So obviously, invasive surgery and the atrophy from just being sick, it just played a massive toll on my body.
And atrophy is when you're... It's a form of cellular adaptation. When your cells aren't under enough stress, they'll literally get weaker. So in particular muscle cells, they'll get smaller and weaker. So you must have been pretty frail at this point.
Yeah.
You would have just been bedridden for like the last long time.
More or less. So yeah, I was just skin and bone, basically, and a bit of a pouch from where my organs or my stomach had been stretched out from harbouring this fluid from dialysis, basically. Yes.
So after that?
After that, well, actually, 3 days after that was the Christchurch earthquake, funnily enough. Sure. So, yes, luckily I wasn't in surgery or anything serious like that. I was
3 days away.
I was just next door to the hospital, being looked
Where were
up.
you when the earthquake hit?
So we were in this like house that you get looked after, basically. I think it's mainly for like cancer patients and stuff like that, but they harbour other people as well. So because basically we had to live up there for what was supposed to be 6 months or so.
Yeah.
while they make sure that the kidney is working optimally, basically. But yeah, the earthquake brought sort of a bit of havoc into our lives around that. So we were in the building at the time. We could see the dust clouds from buildings falling around us, and our building actually got condemned later on, so we couldn't stay there.
Where'd you guys go?
So we went back to Timaru and just had to do all the blood tests and stuff at the Timaru hospital, and if anything went wrong, I think weekly we had to drive up to Christchurch, maybe even more often, instead of
Was the hospital alright in Christchurch?
Yeah, that's a solid rig.
Ooh, good.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was a bit of extra drama amongst everything else. But yeah, we saw some pretty awful stuff actually, like, because we went to the hospital we thought that was like a safe spot, but obviously we saw a lot of awful stuff coming in towards the hospital, with obviously the fatalities and stuff that happened in the.
By this point, how were you feeling?
I could walk, but it was a struggle. Like, my muscles were all torn up in my abdomen area. You could only walk for maybe half an hour at a time, type of thing. So it's still very, very rehabilitative at that.
Mentally, where were you at then?
Mentally, I was inspired, I think. Like, I'd been given a second chance. It's like a second chance at life, basically.
Yeah.
So I was just going to grab that by the horns. Basically, I was like, I'm going to turn myself into the healthiest version of myself I can be. I'm not gonna waste the second chance. Basically,
not waste your life.
Yeah, like, I've seen what it's like to be, knocking at death's door. I want to do everything I can with this time that I've been given, however long that is, to add some sort of value either to my life or other people's lives, or just have as much of an impact, a positive impact, as I can, basically. So
Is that what brought you to personal training?
In a sense, yeah. So,
because how did that come about? You were doing computer science, and you finished that degree.
Finished that degree and worked in the industry for a little bit, but I didn't like the sedentariness. I didn't feel like I was making an impact.
Yeah. But at least as much of a direct impact as you do with.
No, and I didn't love it as much. Like, I do like it a lot. I always say that programming is like a superpower. You can make anything out of nothing, basically, or just out of words. But in my spare time, I was looking up health and fitness based stuff all the time. It was how to get fitter, how to get healthier, what are the best, supplements.
Like where your obsession was.
Yeah, it's definitely obsessed. So I basically just turned my passion into what I wanted to do, and that was terrifying. I talked myself out of it and into it so many times. But that finally came around that I wanted to be involved in the fitness industry in some way, shape or form. So originally I was looking for jobs like receptionists at gyms, or even like, I can't even remember now, is it like Les Mills? They like the people on the phones that just harass people, basically. I'm glad I ended up doing that. But City Fitness offered a way to get into the personal training industry, which was pretty painless and cost a bit of money, and it was pretty low risk, high reward. So through my struggles to go from being this skinny, fat, injured person from where I was post kidney transplant, basically, to getting a bit of fitness back into my life, I found it very frustrating, and I found it quite limiting, actually, with the
amount. What was limiting?
Just like looking online, I feel like there's so much misinformation out there.
Totally.
Obviously now I know that the process to becoming fit and healthy it can be simplified quite a lot. But now, like, I can remember being back then and just being overwhelmed by all this information that was so contradictory, you just, it felt overcomplicated. It felt impossible to get.
Possible. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, it shouldn't be this hard. And I even, spent a lot of money on personal trainers, and I bought a lot of, the things that influencers were trying to influence me to buy, some of which was valuable and I still use to this day, and other stuff and personal trainers that they seem to overcomplicate things more. It's like they were making...
You see that a lot, eh?
Yeah, they're making me reliant on them.
Yep. That's part of the frustrations that I felt in the industry as well.
Yeah.
Part of why I started Oni was like, okay, I think we can do this better.
Yes.
And I hope there wasn't too much of my own ego talking, but I do think we can do it better.
Well, it feels like it anyway. So yeah, that was a big part of why I wanted to get into the industry. It's like, look, I've seen this easier way. It doesn't, it doesn't have to be like how these people are doing it. I want to help other people see the light as well. So it doesn't have to be this hard. I want to educate people and make them not reliant on me. I want to make them independent. And
I think that's the key, man. I think that's the key to long term, at a global or at least a bigger scale, better health and wellness or hauora.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. So yeah, sure, you can help. Maybe like how many hours of clients can we do max? Like
exactly.
Like 15 or 20 clients maybe maximum.
Exactly. So, but it's until they're independent with it, until they're inspired by themselves, they're empowered, then they can help themselves. And they can help other people too. Then you have a ripple effect.
Oh, absolutely. Like you see, for sure now, clients, when they're educated and they know how to move their bodies or how to do these, whatever their goal is, basically, they start helping their partners, they start helping their friends. It's this far and outreaching effect, which is, I have no regrets about getting into the fitness industry. It's so positive, so
very, very, very highly rewarding, like you're saying. Look, I know you're super short on time as well, Sam, so we'll wrap this up. But if there's one piece of advice or tip or anything you'd like to give anybody listening, whether they're feeling unmotivated or like maybe their life, or what was the word again? Mataora. is not meaning much, or they're not feeling fulfilled, or anything like that. Feeling like maybe in some ways you were when you were bedridden. What would you tell them?
That's a tough one. I think it's important to just try something. So I remember being like beaten up and just feeling overwhelmed, I suppose. Like I couldn't do anything. Like all I could do at that stage, exercise wise at least, was walk. And so each day I'd walk a little bit further. I'd go for a bigger walk and just work on getting better and better at walking until I could start to jog. And then I started to jog, and then I could eventually start incorporating some weight training and stuff like that, stuff that I actually started to enjoy. So I think the hardest step when you're feeling like that is just doing something. So starting at step one, and then like the fitness stuff that made me feel better. I felt less depressed, I felt more confident, I felt all these things. So it's just this one little thing, just going for a little walk, it facilitated all these other things, the eating properly, the confidence, so just taking one step at a time, not having to do everything at once, just keeping it simple, just taking one step forward at a time, basically.
Awesome. I think that falls in line with everything else I've been hearing anyway. We had Harris Button here a couple of weeks ago talking about mental health and physical activity, and he was saying start small, celebrate the wins, carry the momentum on. I was at a sports med talk last Friday, and there was a sports psychologist there. Her name was Natalie, but I can't remember what her last name was, but she works with some high-performing teams anyway, and she was saying same things, start small, celebrate the small wins, carry on the momentum, So I think that's a really good piece of advice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you very much for coming into the Only Podcast, Sam.
Oh, pleasure.
See you back at work, but it's actually really, really awesome to hear about your story in person too, from your own lips, from your own voice, you know. There's a lot of emotion there. There's a lot of meaning there as well. And I'm without a doubt, I think your life is going to be even more full of meaning, helping more and more people.
Amen.
All right. That's us.
Just quite. Thank you both, Laurent and Sam, for jumping on air, especially, you know, allowing yourself to be so vulnerable to our listeners. But yeah, it was awesome, like real inspiring. And I was listening to it with the headphones on, and it was super cool because, well, I should have jumped in because I had some questions too. I was just going to wait to the end, but too late now.
Well, it's totally interesting though, because not often you hear about those stories of people, you know?
Yeah, and especially like, you know, sharing that with an audience that you don't know, and like sharing yourself, like a big part of who you are today and why you do what you do.
Yeah. I think that's so important, having a why, knowing why you do something.
Yeah, knowing it, like...
Yeah, having a meaning to everything, because without that...
Because a lot of people just, like, wander aimlessly.
Yeah.
And there is no real reason why, but I think he had, like, a wake-up call. And then even though he was, like, you know, so close, he was just sitting on their store. It sounded like it.
Yeah. I never knew he went through all that stuff, you know? Like, until now, actually. I've heard little snippets, and we've worked together for, like almost 9 months now, you know. When I took him on as a PT, I just saw his character and I knew what he stood for. I knew what he stood for and what he wanted to do, and I was like, yep, you're in, because that's what I embody too. But I had no idea the stuff they had been through and a lot of the meanings for why, you know. So that was freaking awesome for me to hear.
Because a lot of people don't usually like share such a big part of their life unless they're asked. Yeah. But you don't know.
Or even
you
when
don't
they
actually know that they're going through it.
Or even when they are asked, they might brush over it, or
like,
you know, it's like, it's no big deal, you know, just cause.
But it was like real eye opening.
Real eye opening. I'm really glad you shared that.
Yeah, same too. So te kupu mo tēnei wiki is mataora. We talked about Sam's mataora, Sam's life and all that he went through, and it was super cool.
It's very inspiring.
It is, even
very
for
inspiring.
myself. Like, I joined the gym last week and I had my first session, and just listening to him, just walking, then jogging, then kind of progressively moving further until he did what he was doing before the whole transplant kidney failures. In me, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm just a real beginner.
But make sure you celebrate those wins.
Exactly, because it gets a bit disheartening when you set a goal but you don't reach it. But that's because it's not realistic. You have to just, especially if you're a beginner like myself, start small. And personal trainers, I know nothing about exercise and gym, so I think I need one, and I have one. But until that I can teach myself and I know what I'm doing and I can teach others, then just take your time, and that applies to anything, not just your hauora, but also your mataora. It applies to your life.
Yeah, sorry we didn't say that very often. I don't know if
No, it's okay.
we missed a few or not.
No, you didn't say the word.
Okay.
He was just talking about just
Mataora.
his mataora. You didn't, and then last week was Taioranga.
Taioranga, is it?
The week before that was Koritinana.
Yeah, and then the week before that was
Hauora.
Hauora. Yeah.
Hauora, Koritinana, Taioranga, and Mataora.
Yes. So next week we'll have a new word, which surrounds what Laurent does, which surrounds hauora. But we have 5 minutes, so we'll play one song. Do you have a song you'd like to listen to?
Can we please listen to Man in the Mirror? Is that okay?
Yes.
I was going to say, if it's purple again.
And I was thinking that.
No way. It's just listening about all the stuff.
Say
Yeah, just listening to the stuff all about self-change, because we've been talking about mental health. We've been talking about all this stuff to do with changing our behaviors to have healthier lifestyles, and it starts with you. It starts with the man in the mirror.
Exactly. So, mai tonu mai ki tō tātou nei taonga te reo iriringi o te upoko o te ika after the song will go with Wātea, then top 4 just after 4 nohora mai. Not nohora mai, stay tuned. Tēnei te teihana te reo iriringi o te upoko o te ika, te hotaka, Tahi Takeover.